Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and the continuation of Werewolves. I'm going to look at the use of the girdle and the salve. There's a following ritual combined the use of a wolf belt or girdle as well as a salve. One famous werewolf was said to use both and applied substance and the skin of some type of wolf maybe, that's Gingrenier. Although the following ritual has never been specifically attributed to him as one he originated or used. Who first recorded this ritual, thereby allowing it to survive into the present day, is unknown. But it eventually saw mass publication in Elliot O'Donnell's 1912 book, Werewolves. O'Donnell was an early 20th century ghost hunter and the author of dozens of books. Lest anyone doubt that psychodrama was a key ingredient in getting some kind of result from a werewolf right. Look at the type of admonition that usually accompanied such a ritual when it was written about in centuries past. Here's an example of such a precursor from O'Donnell's book. In the first place, if it is necessary that the person desirous of acquiring the property of lycanthropy should be in the earnest and a believer in those superphysical powers whose favour he is about to ask. Besides the stilted language and the archaic spelling of the book's title, the message is evolved from an occult point of view. O'Donnell is reminding the reader to be open to psychodrama before he or she ventures out into the night, bizarre ingredients in hand. As for the ingredients, well, if you are a member, you will have already done the psychotropics that I put out there, only for my members. But we're going to learn a little bit more on that, I guess, here. Hallucinations, yes. More poisonous, probably. These ones, probably. It's an ancient ritual, though, not a cookbook for a yummy drink. Let's remember that. Also, there may be an element that is disturbing to some. The fat of a freshly killed animal. While the rite calls for the fat of a cat, it could be symbolic, an obvious anti-canine nature. Ritual elements can almost always be substituted for things that make sense. In this case, a visit to a butcher would provide plenty of suitable fat, even though it obviously won't be from a cat. Assuming you have a perfectly sane butcher, that is, there's always one that might be insane. There's that to think about. Then there's the slightly tricky matter of obtaining enough furry wolf skin for you to tie around your waist as a belt or girdle, even though this ritual is really being included for just occult purposes, just learning, providing a glance into another time. And some of you may end up trying it. Yeah, probably in either exact or slightly modified form. So consider local controlled substance laws as well as animal cruelty laws if you're going to attempt to do this in the modern day. A note as well, even though this ritual was recorded in O'Donnell's book and the itemized chants are taken from that source, there is a few other instructions for performing it, more for the benefit of modern readers than back then. Over time it changed, obviously, by girdle and by salve. Locate a remote spot in the true wilderness, well away from any villages or even remote residences. This wilderness can be deep in the woods, on a mountain top, or even in a desert. Total seclusion is critical to ensuring that the dark powers summoned will answer. Visit the ritual area by daylight. Choose the most level piece of ground. Depend on the likelihood of its being discovered, the value of its contents, a cache of at least some of the ritual items you plan to use later, I suppose, should be left in that area. Only do this if you are visiting on the same day you plan to perform the rite. Maybe during a new moon. It does normally suggest on a new moon, but before that even comes around, you will need to spend a few months reaffirming what it is that you wish to accomplish on that night. Then you'll venture out to your remote spot with whichever supplies you choose to take with you. and hopefully you didn't leave any behind. It's okay if we're waiting or camping near the ritual area, but do not actually be in the ritual area as the sun sets. Only approach the spot well after dark to begin preparing for the rite. Preferably, you will be able to wait until about half an hour before midnight to enter the area, although that's really just based on how difficult the area is to reach. I mean, if it's more difficult, then you're going to need a little bit more time to get there. You'll need to light an oil lamp, and it must be an oil lamp, to guide your way to the spot and allow you to see as you make your preparations. Create a physical circle on the flat area of ground using any means appropriate to the terrain. Draw in the dirt or sand with a stick, mark the stone with chalk, lay something out such as ropes or rocks. Whatever method you're creating it, just make sure it's an outer circle, okay? It's got to be at least 14 feet in diameter though. It needs to be a big one. Using the same method you used to create the first circle, you will then create an inner circle. This one needs to be 6 feet wide. Within the inner circle, light a fire using kindling from the ritual area if possible. Place some type of camp cooking apparatus on the fire. It can be iron tripod or some type of small iron grill cover. Heat on an iron vessel, obviously. You only have to heat the pot of water on it. It's like a small cauldron setup, I suppose. Let it approach boil in point as well. But at exactly midnight, that's Dougal, and no, it's not his ears. That's his mouth. Exactly at midnight, place into the boiling water 1 handful of each of any 3 of the following ingredients. And these are the ingredients you need to become a werewolf. Asafoetida, parsley, opium, hemlock, henbane, saffron, aloe, poppy seed, solanum. Close your eyes for a few moments and breathe in the aroma coming from the boiling pot. Open your eyes, peer out into the darkness and recite the following words loudly and clearly into the night. Spirits from the deep, who never sleep, be kind to me. Spirits from the grave, without a soul to save, be kind to me. Spirits of the trees that grow upon the leas, be kind to me. Spirits of the air, foul and black, not fair, be kind to me. Water spirits hateful to ships and bathers faithful, be kind to me. Spirits of earthbound dead that glide with noiseless tread, be kind to me. Spirits of heat and fire destructive in your ire, be kind to me. Spirits of cold and ice, patrons of crime and vice, be kind to me. Wolves, vampires, satyr, ghosts, elect of all the devilish hosts, I pray you send hither the great grey shape that makes men shiver, 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 shiver. Come, come, come. Allow any energy to feel the peak as you almost yell the last 6 words, and you really shouldn't yell them. I can't, I would sound insane. But yes, you should. Immediately take off your shirt and apply a pre-made fat-based salve to your skin with those ingredients that we talked about. The ones I mentioned to put in the pot. It should be the mixture that you've prepared, and it should be from a newly killed animal. And blended into this fat base should be also aniseed, camphor and opium. That's very important. Pass a belt or girdle made of wolfskin over the steam from the boiling pot, allowing the steam to rise up around the wolfskin and meet your nose. Do the passing motion 3 times. Tie the girdle around your waist. Kneel down before the boiling pot and continue to smell the mixture. Peer into the darkness through the steam. Let your vision blur slightly. Now it's time to wait for the unknown. The unknown to manifest itself. The fire may burn blue, suddenly die out, or some other sign may announce the presence of this unknown. You may detect a deep unnatural silence or extreme, opposite the sounds of crashes and bangs, groans and shrieks. If you see nothing, you may only feel abnormal cold and a sense of dread. If you do see something approach, it could be the form of a simple huntsman, something more hideous, part man, part beast. The approaching form could be clearly defined, misty or ethereal. Not much is known about this being's true nature, only what it's supposed to be able to grant to the man or woman that summons it. When you detect its presence in some form, the change will begin. In many ways, the preceding ritual is ultimate werewolf rite. In addition to containing both a salve and a girdle, it contains another element that seems to come up repeatedly to folklore, the idea of a mysterious being encountered in the wilderness. If you want to become a Russian wolf, which is slightly different from a normal wolf, a Russian werewolf is apparently much, much more, that's the word I'm looking for, monstrous. You will need a blade. And what I mean is like a knife, a handheld knife that you have yourself made. This cannot be bought for you. You cannot find it. It must be made of your own hands. It cannot be silver. It cannot be gold. It needs to be steel. You need to walk out into the woods, middle of nowhere. You need all the ingredients listed as I've listed before. You will still need your pot to boil those ingredients, and you can still make a salve out of them if you choose to. However, you will also need to find an area where a tree has been naturally chopped down. So there's a stump, but no man has done it. It's naturally made that way, either by storm or it's grown that way or whatever, but it has to be natural. What you need to do is you need to obviously state your purpose why you are there. Make sure you have brought your water to boil and put all your ingredients in so that all that's set off and doing what it's doing. State your intention. Now you need to stand so you are facing the north to the tree stump. And you need to stab your knife centre of the tree stump. Then you have to somersault over that tree stump with that knife in it. You will then, supposedly, turn into a Russian wolf, but unfortunately, in order to turn back, you will have to do that backwards as a wolf to turn back into a human. And if someone steals your knife, you're screwed. Yeah, very interesting though. Would not advise it. Probably not a good idea. The unknown in any rite is an entity, and it's supposed to be the thing that is visible or invisible. It provides the final magic touch, if you will. In some of the folklore, the confessing werewolves would admit to accepting a girdle or salve from a dark man in the woods. This ritual may mix up the order a bit, implying that you have to supply the materials and then call the mysterious being forward to give them a dark blessing of sorts. So what is really happening here? First, we can't ignore the materials being used and combined. I mean, any three of those ingredients listed in that boiling pot is guaranteed to produce vapours that will affect one's consciousness. The ingredients are very similar to the ones we use in witch-flying ointments from the 15th to 18th centuries. Could send the ritual participant into quite a flight indeed. These ingredients have been known to kill as well. This rite is not without unreasonable risk. At the very least, avoid drinking the boiling concoction. Please do not ever drink it. The vapours begin to get the participant in an altered state. He or she is fully invested in the ritual to begin with. The combination of hallucinogen and willpower or intention may be enough to get someone launched into a hyper-realistic trip. And that's really what it is. It's a trip from psychotropics. Now add the strange words of the rites, vampires, ghosts and all the above mentioned, perhaps to play on the primal fears of the participant. It's a wonderfully orchestrated piece of psychodramatic prose, combined with a lonely setting. Surely, all this is enough to do something to the participant's subconsciousness. Yet, the rite goes on to add a salve which may or may not absorb into the bloodstream to help along the drug-aided mood. And of course, the physical symbol of the form desired comes onto the participant. The wolfskin is really a perfect final touch. So, is the entire ride a perfect launching point for an imagined experience? Sort of like popping LSD in a room surrounded by Star Wars toys and ending up on the Death Star. Possibly could be just like that. But there is one more possibility. The ritual has most of the elements found in traditional magic, evocation, or the practice of summoning a spirit to visible appearance. Even after having practiced numerous of those rituals, let's say, I can't actually say that summoning spirits involves anything more than calling forth something that you alone can see, you alone can hear as if it is standing before you, but unfortunately, no one else can. The psychodrama in an evocation is so powerful that it works. Then, as if snowballing the effect, the psychodrama of the ritual having worked seems to fuel whatever it is you desire. Magic never seems to violate natural laws. I mean, that's something that we've always looked at through time. So I'm not of the opinion that the above ritual will really result in psychodrama-induced goose flesh turning into a wolf, a complete wolf. However, the combination of mind-altering substances and ritual might be enough to make it real to the participant in every way that matters. Again, if the placebo effect can heal someone taking a sugar pill, magic, like preceding the rite, should be able to make changes shy of Lon Chaney's Wolfman in someone giving the rite his or her all. When the ritual is performed, one of the three things will happen in all likelihood. The first is that the participant will pass out and have either a vivid hallucination of being a wolf or not. The not could be because the participant was too strongly affected by the poison and may not ever awaken again. Yes, you can die doing these rituals if you do not know what you are doing. Second is the possibility that the ritual will fire on all psychological cylinders, sending the participant howling into the woods. He or she will believe absolutely that anyone encountering him or her will see a wolf, and anyone encountered will absolutely agree that the participant is at least a wild person of the woods. If you saw someone wearing a wolfskin and tattered pants, howling and filthy from moving through the brush, you'd certainly let dark play tricks on you, wouldn't you? Think about it. I'd imagine you'd run, hoping to survive to tell the tale, which will get better more and more as you tell it. You know, Chinese whispers and all that. The third thing that could happen after such a rite is something that we'll look at later. The ritual may knock the practitioner unconscious and may provide a seemingly hallucinated fantasy hunt in the woods. But what if everything the person saw in the dream actually came to pass, being perpetrated by what others would see as a glowing astral wolf, something formed of the mind? It's highly possible also. Anyway, I'm going to leave that part here and let you mull over those rituals and decide what you think. I advise not messing with stuff like that. Don't try things like that. And don't mess with those herbs if you don't know what you're doing, because they can kill you. That's a fact. Absolute fact. But also, point I'm making, every single one of those herbs is going to make you see things. And you'll definitely feel like you're flying. And if you're not flying, you'll definitely probably feel like you're changing into a wolf, because they are designed to alter the state of the mind. Anyway, thank you for listening, and many blessings.